So this day, this time, this whatever, we're going to talk about saying thank you instead of something else actually. Pretty pumped. Pretty fucking pumped to be here. And hope you are as well. So welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. I'm very happy if I might sound a little bit different. I don't know, my throat or my throat is pretty dry. Has been for the past 3 days, something, not that a bad thing. I'm still gonna work out today because it's nights. And even though it has kind of 80 degrees Fahrenheit outside or 30 degrees Celsius outside, which is warm, which is really warm, but I'm not gonna complain about that. Like it's really interesting that a lot of people just complain about it being too cold, it being too hot, it being too just medium, something in between. Just, you know what I mean. Like, people complain about every fucking shit, and I don't quite get it because life is great. Life is abnormously great. If you focus on it being great, if you focus on it being just really fucking shit, it's gonna be fucking shit because you can't see anything else but the part of it that's quite shit. And there is a part, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna kind of just put you in a fairy tale or talk about a fairy tale. Life sometimes is not that great. But yeah. Today we're actually going ahead with going through another James Clear article from his website, jamesclear.com, about, which is actually called, Can You See? No, you can't. Why can't you? Can you now? That's interesting. Now you can see me 500 times, which is good. Now you can see it. Interesting. Very fucking interesting. So this day we're going, or this time actually, why this day? Today, let's say today. Today we're going through make your life better by saying thank you in these 7 situations. And I first of all thought saying thank you is great. It still is great. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's no debate about that, but the thing is, this article is not heading into this direction. This article is actually going into the direction of saying thank you instead of saying something else. And in some occasions or in some situations, so I've actually kind of saw one, because I do not want to spoil me somehow. I've seen one where I thought the first one is like the normal one. Let's say the normal one, and it's okay, it's great, it's working. But the thank you thing is just makes sense. It adds something. It is somehow good, somehow great. It just is something different. I'm bringing you this because, I don't know, I've just chosen, I think, 2. The first one was actually kind of too long. And and this one is kind of perfect. It is still somehow longer than some other articles he's having, but still, it's quite short compared to some summaries, for example, from the alanchang.com website, which are definitely quite fucking long. But I've been today actually also talking about in the other video that I've just uploaded before about changing things up in your life. And I do think this is just also some part of actually changing up some things in your life, because this could definitely kind of add value to your life by changing up something. So I'm very interested in what's this gonna provide to me, whether it is actually or not, and whatsoever. But I think we will fucking see. We will fucking see. So this is by James Clear, this article, and from the life lessons and or self-improvement section category. So at least you can see the tags there, here and here, which is great. Having some tags, and you, I think the life lesson section is a really great section, and there's actually just a lot of fucking articles there. So, first of all, you can see a few categories of, which type of kind of life lessons you can get there. And on the bottom, or in the bottom actually, there is just a really fucking big list of every article that has the same tag as this one, so the life lessons tag. And there are quite a lot of them, and I do just enjoy them all. But let's see. So I don't say thank you as often as I should, and I doubt I am the only one. In fact, I'm starting to believe that thank you is the most underappreciated and underused phrase on the planet, which would be just fucked up, I guess, because I don't know. Thank you is, at my point of view at least, something that's very important. And I do also see that some people, and I do not want to talk about parenting or something, because I don't know. I think it might has an impact on whether you're just saying a lot of thank you or not, or you're just being polite if you consider it polite. If not, then not. I still think that there is, I think definitely some impact your parents are doing on you or having on you with their parenting, and how you're gonna live your life, how you're acting, the way you're behaving, and whatsoever. So they definitely have an impact on you. But I don't know. I just don't know. It is appropriate in nearly any situation, and it is a better response than most of the things we say. So let's cover 7 common situations when we say all sorts of things, but should say thank you instead. And there's a little picture where one guy says, so it's actually stick, I think they're called stickman, but I don't know, I really don't. The left one says, you're the best, and the right one says then, thank you. And that's it, and that's fucking it. Which is okay, I think this is one of the, yeah, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to the last one, I guess, because it actually was the one where I just was thinking okay, the original thing, so the alternative to the thank you phrase was okay. It's fine, it's good, it's working out, but the thank you also makes sense. So I don't know, would be then just nice to see what you're thinking or what you're saying. But yeah, the first one is say thank you when you're receiving a compliment, which, I think where this is heading. Okay, so we often ruin compliments by devaluing the statement or acting overly humble. This is exactly the point that I wanted to make. The thing is, I guess a lot of people think okay, if I'm acting no, that's not the case. I'm actually pretty shy. I'm not that kind of courageous or something. It depends on what the person says. But I guess by saying something like this, by just devaluing, as he says, devaluing the statement or the actual compliment the other person is giving us, it's not actually providing, such a high for the other person as it could. What I mean is that, if somebody says to you okay, you're wearing great shoes, and the other person, and you say thank you, you're kind of, you're kind of giving the other person a really high in being just feeling nice, feeling good about having made a compliment. I guess it's quite interesting. I guess I don't know how to communicate it that clearly as I would like to, but I think you can get it, or you think you get what I mean. It really is. I think at my point of view, you would make the day better for the other person by not playing the humble kind of person and just being thank you. I think it would just give way more to the person who is giving the compliment as to you. For you, it might be great to be it's not the true, and whatsoever. If it is actually the case, and if it is actually okay, I'm really not like you think I am, I guess you should still say, Then I think it's about making things clear and making things right, I guess. But if it's actually the truth, just kind of accept it, maybe. For the sake of the other person, I guess. But yeah, internally, you might think this prevents you from appearing arrogant or smug. The problem is that by deflecting the praise of a genuine compliment, you don't acknowledge the person who was nice enough to say something. Simply saying thank you fully acknowledges the person who made the compliment and allows you to enjoy the moments as well. So there's actually, a win on one hand and a win on the other hand. So an example would be, your dress looks good. Instead of, oh, this old thing, I've had it for years. Just say, thank you, I'm glad you like it. Another one, wow, 20 points tonight, you've played really well in a game. Instead of, yeah, but I missed that wide open shot in the third quarter. Try saying, thank you, it was a good night. Another example, you killed your presentation today. Did I? I felt so nervous up there. I'm glad it looked all right. Try saying, thank you, I'm happy it went well. There is something empowering about fully accepting a compliment. When you deflect praise, you can't really own it. When you just say thank you, you let the weight of the compliment sink in and become yours. Saying thank you gives your mind permission to be built up by the compliments you receive. Getting compliments should be fun and enjoyable, but we often ruin the experience. There is no need to sabotage compliments that come your way. Accept them with grace and enjoy the moments. I think, he's actually explaining it in a much more clear and much easier way than I tried to kind of, do it, but I'm actually kind of thinking the same way as he is. Still, I might do the same. I don't know. I think the last compliment was one that I got from a colleague, actually, or friend. And she was saying, like, this, was it a sweater? No, it was not a sweater. It was actually, was it a pullover? I don't know. It was definitely not a shirt, but she said, like, because I don't actually know what it's called. Like, it's just, it's not a hoodie either. I think it's a pullover. If this actually a fucking English expression, I don't fucking know. But she said, well, this looks good. You look good in this one. And I said, like, thank you. I like it as well. Something like this, I guess. And, well, I don't know. I found it very nice. And I do in general think that we should give way more compliments than we are doing at the time. Like, I do not often get a compliment. And I do not want to. It's not about me being like, I want more compliments. Totally not. Like, it's not what I'm aiming for. I'm really not. But I think you could just really make a day for somebody else. You really could make somebody else's day. And you could, you really could make them happy. It's just really amazing what just some simple and easy and those quick words can actually mean to somebody, or just how they can affect somebody. But the second one is, say thank you when you are running late. Being late, I think this is actually the one that I meant. Never mind. So being late is the worst. It's stressful for the person who is running late, and it is disrespectful to the person who is waiting. It might seem strange, so thank someone for dealing with your hassle, but that's exactly the correct response. Most people stumble in the door and say, sorry, I'm late. The problem is the response still makes the situation about you. Sorry, I'm late. Saying thank you turns the tables and acknowledges the sacrifice the other person made by waiting. Thank you for waiting. Or better said, thank you for waiting. An example there would be, you walk in the door 14 minutes late. Instead of, and I think, this was actually the one that I was, I think, talking about as okay. I think, the original one is okay. Like saying, I'm sorry is, first of all, like saying sorry when you're late, I think is just something you should be doing. I don't know why, I'm often quite thinking about those things, and I don't know why I'm so strict with those, quote unquote strict with those things, and why I kind of, maybe it has something to do with being kind. I don't know. I still think that this is just, maybe it is polite, and this again is just something like, for some people it might polite, for some people it might not be polite, or just be something, or be nothing, or mean nothing. It's just, like polite is something that's, it really comes up to the person. Like polite can mean just saying thank you a lot, or just being nice, for example. Being polite could also mean just giving a lot of compliments. It has a lot of faces, I would say, and a lot of facets. So instead of saying, sorry, I'm late, traffic was insane out there, you could say, thank you for your patience. So when we make a mistake, someone else often makes a sacrifice. Our default response is to apologize for our failure. But a better approach is to praise their patience and loyalty. Thank them for what they did despite your error. There the funny thing what I'm seeing there is that you're basically kinda making or turning your fault into a compliment to the other person or for the other person. I don't know. I really don't. But I think it's really doing that. And I think that's great. You're making something positive out of something negative, basically. So, as far as I see the whole situation, yeah. Yeah. The third one is say thank you when you're confronting someone. When someone comes to you with bad news, it can be awkward. You want to be a good friend, but most people don't know what to say. I know I've felt that way before. I know because he obviously had felt that way before. Oftentimes we think it's a good idea to add a silver lining to the problem. Well, at least you have, and something like this. What we fail to realize is that it doesn't matter if you don't know what to say. All you really need is to be present and thank them for trusting you. An example would be your coworker's mother passed away recently. Instead of at least you have a lot of fond memories to hold on, say something like, thank you for sharing that with me. I know this is a hard time for you. I guess, Well, there again, I feel like, it also makes sense saying something like, okay, those silver linings, even though I think they're connotated just, pretty negatively, and I acknowledge that, I guess. But the thing that, at least as I see it, it always comes up to who you are, but I think it's also giving an positive upside to the person. Just instead of being like, well, I don't know. It's pretty tough, I guess, because when you say thank you, I know it's a hard time for you. I don't know. It might be the reality. It might just be the reality, and sometimes the reality is negative. But could you just not be so negative somehow? Just being like, okay. Well, on the other hand, it could just really piss people off if you're trying to be just so positively and try to respond in such a positive way to actually try to make them as well positive by, for example, being like, okay, at least you have a lot of fond memories to hold on, because this is also something that I kind of recognize that often when you try to just kind of respond very, very positively and with, trying to be motivative and trying to kind of underline the upside of it. Sometimes people are mad at you, and sometimes people are really fucked up and or just don't like it, And by saying things like, okay, thank you, this is definitely not the case. Thank you, I know it's a hard time, but could you just combine both of them? So that they say like, okay, thank you for sharing this with me, just means a lot to me, and I know and understand that this is just a really hard time for you to go through, and also but yeah, at least you have a lot of great memories to hold on. Maybe you could do both. I don't know. I think it also depends on the situation as well. Another example would be your brother lost his job. Instead of at least you have your health. At least you have your health. Try saying, thank you for sharing this with me. I'm here to support you. Well, this is actually something that I just meant right now. By being like, okay, thank you, I acknowledge it and I understand you. But I'm also here to give you something positive. I'm also just trying to motivate you, just go on and whatsoever, because I'm here to support you. Another example would be your friend's pet just died. It tied some shoes, Funny. I should use them way more. I really could. But at least, or instead of saying at least they had a long and happy life, say like, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm here for you. In times of suffering, we don't need to hear words to ease the pain as much as we need someone to share our pain. When you don't know what to say, just say thank you and be there. And I guess this is actually what I meant by saying like, okay, often when you do just kind of respond in a very, very positive way, in a maybe too positive way, people get upset about that. I think it's like we don't need to hear words to ease the pain, but we need people or someone to share the pain with us. Well, yeah, I think this is just what I meant. And actually, like, I think by thanking them and by saying like thank you and being there for them, obviously, or not so obviously actually, I guess, this could actually give them more than just trying to be positive and just sharing their pain, because he points out sharing their pain. And for me, sharing the pain is just, okay, my, pain level is 100, but when I'm sharing it with someone, it could be 50-50, it could be 25-75 and whatsoever. You're just getting rid of some pain. I don't know if this just in terms of the words that I'm seeing there. I don't know if this, has some actual kind of background or something. But yeah, the fourth one is say thank you when you're receiving helpful feedback. Feedback can be very helpful, but we rarely see it that way. Whether it is an unflattering performance review from your boss or an email from an unhappy customer, the standard reaction is to get defensive. That's a shame, because the correct response is to simply say thank you and use the information to improve. An example there would be, this work isn't good enough and I thought you would do better. Very mean. And I guess you should never say something like this. At least not only something like this. And, and there it also comes up to tonality and some things. So, yeah, I think communication, once again, is very just strange and complicated and difficult. But instead of, you don't understand, here's what really happened, say something like, thank you for expecting more of me. Well, this is a classic example of seeing the positive in life, I guess. You could also be like, you don't understand, here's what really happened, I'm really not that bad. Being like, okay, thank you for expecting more of me. Thank you for just thinking that I could be capable of way more than I did there. Another example would be, I bought your product last week and it already broke. I'm not happy with this experience. Instead of, how did you use it? We made it very clear in our terms and conditions that the product is not designed to work in certain conditions. Try saying like, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Please know we are committed to becoming better. Can you share more details about the issue? This is just a really true example of, I think, good customer support, and at my point of view. Really in my point of view. It's not at my point of view, it's in my point of view. Something that I learned. Something that I finally realized, I guess. Good customer support, at my point of view, at least in my point of view, is very important. And I've once, the platform that I'm using to actually spread or distribute my podcast is called Anchor. It is just really, truly nice because it's free. You can make money with it with some sponsor integration or sponsorship integrations, which are nice. I've never ever tried them because I do not have an audience yet. But they just really make a great job. And I once actually hit up the customer support because something about my analytics, about my metrics, about just the numbers that I got were somehow kind of strange, in the somehow beginning of the whole kind of thing, everything went up and then suddenly everything went down just really kind of just extremely. And I thought like, what's going on there? And this was actually one of the kind of just really, is it seldom? Seldom. What does seldom mean? Not often or rarely. Yeah, just what I meant. Something that I seldomly do. Do you use it like this? I don't know. So I don't actually kind of use the customer support very often. This is the point that I'm willing to make. But I did with Anchor, and they did just such a great job. It was so amazing. The people were so friendly, and they wished me the best for my podcast and whatsoever. It was just truly amazing. It really was. I just hope that it's not just the case for me, just some out of I don't know, just a worker or an employee that just has been really fucking happy this day. But I guess, they're usually that friendly and that cooperative and whatsoever. But just, yeah, nobody likes to fail, but failure is just a data point. Respond to helpful feedback with thanks and use it to become better. The fifth thing is say thank you when you're receiving unfair criticism. Sometimes criticism isn't helpful at all. It's just vindictive, whatever this means. Let's see what it means. He never destroyed a person simply on a say-so of vindictive animus. Vengeful, out for revenge, revengeful, okay. I've written about how to deal with haters previously, but one of the best approaches is to just say thank you and move on. When you thank someone for criticizing you, it immediately neutralizes the power of the statement. It is not a big deal to you, then it can't grow into a large argument. There, an example would be, instead of, well, clearly, I wrote this for beginners, this might be surprising, but not everything was written with you in mind. Well, pretty revengeful. Try saying, thank you for sharing your opinion, I'll try to improve next time. Your statement is the dumbest thing I've ever read this week, or all week. Instead of, you're an idiot, let me tell you why. Say things like, thank you for the feedback, I still have a lot to learn. Releasing the need to win every argument is a sign of maturity. Someone on the internet says something wrong, so what? Win the argument by the way you live your life. And I guess it's actually true also kind of in terms of generally dealing with haters in the internet. Something that Gary Vee often says and often kind of spreads is that you should really feel sorry for the person that is actually giving you negative feedback online for the content that you're producing. People that are like, okay, this was such a bad episode and whatsoever. I think in some situations, I think, if you can really see that a lot of people are saying this, maybe the episode or maybe this video wasn't that great as all the other ones, Just somehow being honest and truthful and whatsoever to yourself is also important in my point of view. But, when it's only one person without any kind of just constructive criticism, without anything you can somehow use to kind of see that, yeah, okay, you did something not that well or something like this. Yeah, you really have to feel sorry for them because they have such a bad life that they just really have to take their time to go to your content and to watch your content, consume your content, and then leave a negative comment. It's just amazing. They use up their time for actually commenting, watching your content, and other things. It's really insane, isn't it? It just really is. And the sixth thing is say thank you when someone gives you unsolicited advice. Yeah, this shows up a lot in the gym. Everybody has an opinion about what your technique should look like. This is actually truly the fucking case. I'm not in the gym. I do not work out in the gym. I usually work out either at home or at a park with some bars and something. I think it's just better at my point of view. For sure, you can't expect the same kind of growth, I guess, in the same time. I guess, I'm not sure, I'm really not, than going to the gym or compared to going to the gym. But it still keeps you healthy and still, can make you just, look pretty nice, just Google calisthenics. Is with a CALISTH, and then Enix, ICS. Yeah, something like this. I probably have misspelled it, but never mind. But yeah, everyone just seems to be an expert on technique, and I don't know, often just, I guess people can feel like, okay, this must be the truth that he's saying, or this must be the right technique. He's just describing me because he's fucking buff and jacked. Not necessarily, I guess. You can still just build a lot of muscle with the wrong technique. I guess. It's just really the case. So yeah. But let's actually see what he's saying. I think most people are just trying to be helpful, but hearing someone's opinion about you when you didn't ask for it can be annoying. Yeah, that's true. One time someone pointed out some flaws in my squat technique in a video I posted online. I responded by sarcastically asking if he had a video of himself doing it correctly. Somewhere deep in my mind, I assumed that if I reminded him that his technique wasn't perfect, then I would feel better about the fact that mine wasn't perfect either. That's an unnecessary and defensive response. It clearly is. It truly is. But I think it's also just pretty nice to see it yourself. If you do just making a mistake, that you're kind of acknowledging it and seeing it. And yeah. The better approach, just say thank you. An example there, you should really keep your hips back when you do that exercise. Oh, really? Do you have a video of yourself doing it so I can see it done correctly? Thank you for the help, would be the better one. Pointing out others' faults doesn't remove your own. Thank people for raising your self-awareness, even if it was unsolicited. I think it's actually unsolicited, isn't it? And the last one would be, say thank you when you're not sure if you should thank someone. So when in doubt, just say thank you. There is no downside. Are you honestly worried about showing too much gratitude to the people in your life? Should I send a thank you? Should I send a thank you card in this situation? Yes, you should. Should I tip him? If you don't, at least say thank you. Say thank you more often, which is the whole point of this entire thing. And as always, I'm going to read the footnotes, which are actually great, because I think most often these are just thoughts of him, so just some thoughts of James Clear. And I think it's just nicer to have it in just a footnote kind of way than just having it all in the text, because it might can disturb you from actually the whole story of the text and whatsoever. So I do just find it nice, I guess. The footnotes. So the idea for this post was sparked by reading What Got You Here Won't Get You There. It's an excellent book. Thanks to my high school religion teacher, the good old Mr. Flynn, for teaching me this one, and to Derek Sivers for his article on the topic. Your disc is almost full. I don't think so. I came across this example while reading a great post titled Stop Saying Sorry and Say Thank You Instead. I think it is worth noting that whenever I'm feeling defensive, I also find it useful to pull myself back to center and maintain perspective by reminding myself on this quote from Epictetus. Or Epictetus. I don't know, it's just a philosopher, a pretty old one, but just a pretty amazing with great books and great book summaries as well. Just book summaries of his books. So if a man has reported to you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make any defensive to what has been told you, but reply, the man did not know the rest of my faults, for he would not have mentioned these only. Yeah. But yeah, this is actually the end of this episode. I do think it's making sense, he's saying. And often it is just the case that people don't know what's going on in your life and in your head. Still they judge, and still they say, and still they just talk and whatever, even though they know nothing. And also you might be doing it. I'm not only talking about all the people around me, I'm also talking about me apparently. I might be doing it as well, but I just tell myself, please don't judge anybody. You don't know them. You should not. But I hope the whole thing is not broken. I hope the space is there. But yeah, I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered. So basically your legacy. I hope you're I hope you're reminding yourself on this because it's in your control. You basically decide whether you're going to be remembered as a good person or as a bad person. But with that being said, I see you the next time.